Alright, I'm gonna cut to the chase. This movie is awesome, it's a lot of fun, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Oh, come on, I'm just kidding. This week we're talking about Novocaine. When the girl of his dreams is kidnapped, Nathan Kane, played by Jack Quaid, a man incapable of feeling physical pain, turns his rare condition into an unexpected advantage in his quest to rescue her. Welcome to Film Stash, everybody. My name is Douglas Campbell. As I've mentioned within the intro, we're talking about Novocaine this week, which, if you haven't seen it, honestly, I would highly, highly recommend it. It is so much fun. The main character's symptoms, SIPA, or as it's medically referred to, this is going to be a bit of a mouthful, congenital insensitivity to pain with anaglesia. Yeah, that's really hard to say. It is a real condition, and it is found within 1 in 25,000 births. Whenever I saw the movie, I thought that was like a BS condition made to sell the gimmick of an interesting action movie. Surprisingly, no, it's very real. And in working with the main character's condition, the two directors of this movie, Dan Burke and Robert Austin, they have worked extensively with the stunt team in order to find a way to ensure that the action, yes, remains very ridiculous, very out there compared to most action movies, but keep it within the realm of believability. But the end of the movie, he doesn't look like Freddy Krueger or like a plate of hamburgers mushed. He's not completely disgusting by the end of the movie. I kind of wish maybe they did try that. I would have been interested to see what they would have done. Jumping into the positives then of this movie. This movie relies on two things, just two little things. It relies on the utilization of the gimmick, and then the comedic performance of the lead itself, Jack Quaid. Together, I think that the action was really well utilized, and Jack Quaid, he fit this movie perfectly. So really, you just had a movie that the rest of the stuff could have been awful, which I'll get to some of that later in a bit, but you had a movie that could have been bad the rest of the way through, but as long as these two things were done perfectly, it's good. It's firing on all cylinders. The main point is this gimmick and this character selling this gimmick. And I'd say that the action comedy that this film presents to the audience, it doesn't waste the potential, which that's what I liked seeing whenever I saw any little bit of promotional things with this movie. Quaid's character, he pushes what the human body can do in an action film. I mean, it's not like Tom Cruise where he's actually doing it, but in terms of what you see on film, this character pushes things so far, and it yields such comedic effect, not only for what happens to this character, but how the other characters interact with what this condition even is. Yet his imperviousness, it doesn't lower the stakes at all. He's not a superhero, he could die at any point in the movie. So while the action is heightened, and while seeing him get into all these wacky situations is funny, the stakes aren't removed, and even when he does take those hits, albeit comedically or seriously, you cringe a bit, you do feel the stakes, and it's ah. So if you do know Jack Quaid, he is most famous for being on The Boys. Yes, he is getting typecast as Huey. I like his performance so much, and he does capture that everyman quality to him that, honestly, I don't mind that he's just doing the Huey thing again. Jack Quaid, I think, taps into something quite different compared to his past roles, slapstick. This movie is like the Three Stooges on meth. It is crazy. Quaid gets hit by the bad guys with the fists or weapons, he goes down, Quaid immediately gets back up, the bad guy is confused and does it again, rinse and repeat, and the comedy ensues from there, and it's so funny seeing it. And I guess if we're talking about the technical side of this movie, camera work with the fight quality, it's fast and tight, and it works with the gimmick as well. And I stand by that while a bunch of other action movies have done a similar type of gimmick, I think this one, it does enough to stand out on its own, and it could be a classic. I mean, do you know what that means? That means it's time for intermission. And today, we're going to be trying Sweet Tart Rope Bites. It's mixed fruit flavored. Does it really tie into the movie? No, but one of my favorite movie theater snacks, it is Sweet Tart Ropes, specifically the fruit punch one. Got 2 oranges, 2 reds, and a blue, so I think it's blue. Yeah, it's blue. very chewy. It is very chewy, but it's a little more tense than the original Sweet Tart Ropes. And it's even covered in like a slight glaze of sugar, which I don't know if the camera's picking it up. Okay, you can't suck out the candy marrow from the bone. It isn't the worst. I probably would give it in the range of like 6.5 to 7 out of 10. If they don't have the Sweet Tart Ropes, I would probably eat these. And diving into the mix, depending on who you ask, this could be either a mixed or a negative, but personally, I just found it to be a mixed. I'd say that the supporting cast and the basic plot outside of the main gimmick, it's incredibly basic and kind of cliche, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like movies that, as long as they have kind of a gimmick that kind of makes it go above and beyond most standard action movies, like, you can have the basic bare bones be kind of a cliche because you're presenting this one main thing that's kind of new. Like Ray Nicholson, plays a fine villain. He's definitely honing in like some of the things that his dad made so great in cinema. Amber Midthunder, who was in Prey, she's an adequate love interest, and together they have pretty decent chemistry, her and Jack Quaid. She's fine. This gimmick of a guy who feels no pain going through these action scenarios who cannot fight, that gimmick is the glue that's really holding this movie together. And is it the best movie in the world? No. But I think that gimmick, it just, when you go through every possible scenario with a basic gimmick, it goes a long way. I mentioned it in a comment for my out of theater reaction. It goes a long way. And so I think that's where this movie lies. Whether it becomes an action classic one day, it's hard to say, maybe, maybe not. I still would highly recommend checking this movie out. This would get easily an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5, maybe a 7.5. It depends on how I feel seeing it again, but like, it is really so much fun that I cannot recommend it enough. And unlike a bunch of other movies where they do a gimmick for one movie and then they think, oh wait, let's do another one, and then it's kind of the same thing but not as good, I honestly wouldn't mind them making a sequel to this. And for this week's recommendation, as I mentioned earlier, I think that there are tons of movies that have done a similar type of gimmick. I would actually recommend a crazy movie starring Jason Statham called Crank. Jason Statham, he gets poisoned, and the only way that he can survive is that he has to keep his heart rate up, and so he has to do all these various crazy things to keep his adrenaline pumping, and everything's crazy, and the camera work is crazy, and it is so wacky. I also would recommend it if you liked Novocaine. Well, that's all the time we have for today here on Film Stash. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My current goal, at least by the middle of the year, is to get to 350. By the end of the year, I would like to get to 500 subscribers. That's the goal, at least for now. We'll see how far along I get by the middle of the year, but any support you can give to this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. If you excuse me, I gotta add to the stash.